I'd like to call to order the December 4th meeting of the Natural Resources Board. If we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So at this point, we'll have the roll call, please.
Ms. Mosblick?
Here.
Ms. Callahan?
Here.
Mr. Stadelman?
I'm here.
Mr. Wolf?
Here.
Mr. O'Neill?
Here.
Thank you.
Motion to approve the minutes. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, so moving on to announcements. We have 2 new alternate members, which is great to see. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Hagler for an introduction.
All right, not present this evening is Charles Moga. He's a former real estate agent. He's a diver with special interest in the protecting natural waterways. And Ruth Callahan is present here on the end, and she is a pilot and an environmental chemist for over 30 years. I look forward to seeing what her contribution as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We really do appreciate you being here. Okay, we'll move on to the garden workday. So the City Hall demonstration garden that we've been working on. Looks like we have 2 days scheduled for Saturday, December 15th and Saturday, January 12th.
Have a little presentation here.
Okay.
Wait for it to come on the TV. Just a little discussion about our demonstration garden work day. The first day, we did a demo. Basically, we were pulling out all the invasive species, and for any of us who weren't sure exactly what made an invasive species, I think we're clear now, because it takes a lot to pull them out to eliminate them. I'm still going out there and pulling things out every day. We also removed some of the plants that we're going to reuse, and we potted them to give them some little TLC. And we have to thank the resource board members that came out, as well as residents and the master gardeners. And it was a beautiful, perfect day to be out there working, and I'm sure we were all still pretty sore from it. And we look forward to the next demonstration day, which will be December 15th and January 12th here at City Hall, 8 a.m. to noon. Wear clothes you don't mind getting dirty, some gloves, and bring a shovel if you have one. There will be beverages as well as access to City Hall restrooms. So please contact me. My information is here if you plan to attend. And all of the members have received some flyers. If you could help distribute those around, hopefully we can get some more people because we have a lot more work to do. We got a lot of stuff to plant. And also, I just want to give a quick thank you to Brian, John, and Charles that came out to represent the Natural Resources Board for the Christmas parade. I heard they represented well. Thank you. So.
Okay, thank you. Okay, at this point, we'll go to the next item on the agenda, which would be public input. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to speak. Okay, so we'll move on to new business. We have the Earth Day and Arbor Day celebration coming up on April 27th, so we need to try to figure out how we're going to get this done, yes?
So on the last page there of your packet, on the back, you'll see a list of the duties that are entailed into the Earth Day, Arbor Day celebration. And we need to have members assigned to these that are reporting monthly to make sure that these tasks are accomplished. You're not going to be doing it blindly. You know, I'll meet with you one-on-one and I'll give you what you need to do the task. But just want to be aware there are a lot of tasks involved, and everybody's got to take a piece of them because we don't have Super Trooper Rose to handle it all for us this time.
Is Rose still available?
We're going to arrange a meeting with her and whoever takes over, particularly the vendor contacts. And she has, there's a lot of information in that field. So, yes, once the tasks are decided, Rose is going to meet and pass on everything she has and impart her knowledge.
Just a note for everybody that's here now, the date says April 27th. You might as well act like it's tomorrow because it will come so fast. There's only 3 board meetings between now and then, and we did the Earth Day last year. You will be amazed at how you'll run out of time. Rose was instrumental in getting everything done. We were there at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, getting everything going that day. But it's labor intensive from this very moment till the end of that event. Just give everybody a heads up.
So like for everyone to look over the task and start thinking about which task you want to take over, we have to get them assigned and start having regular follow-up, to make sure that it's getting accomplished, that at the last minute, one person isn't trying to pick up all the pieces.
I think the list of responsibilities, I think was a great idea. I think last year, too much of it fell to Rose, actually, the past couple of years. And so I think this will be good to just
Rose reviewed this.
Okay.
I sent it to her for approval first.
Yes, perfect. I personally don't mind the second one, the government and the private environmental organizations. Just, working during the day, that would probably work best for me, being able to email everyone, if that would be okay. If you guys don't mind if I take that one.
No, are there phone lists that we have to call people at all?
We'll give you all the information, and you're not going to be doing it blindly. There's organizations that always participate, and then there's a list of some that we think should or would like to. So we'll add some new perspective ones. What we'd like to see are some of those organizations sponsoring some of the activities as well, because I think we take on all of them as a board, and that's not really necessary. A lot of them have things they like to do, so just an invitation to them.
Are we going to pick our activity duties right now?
Are we to assign this now?
I think we should.
Well, there's people not here, I guess they get what's left. You'd like to see.
Well,
You're here, get first dibs.
I know Pete from Periodola, he could easily book new bands that he's used there at his place as far as the entertainment is concerned, and I'd be happy to work with him on that, coordinating that if you want me to.
So
Can you
entertainment?
take entertainment?
Sure.
Okay.
Anything that involves phoning, I'd be happy to do.
Involves the what?
Phoning, calling
Marketing.
people, marketing lists, things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, we'll make the flyers and we'll have the outlets. In the past, we've paid for ads on NPR, and I'm not sure we reached everyone like we should. We're trying to find a better way to market a free community event, and I think it's out there. So I have some leads to follow.
Okay.
If I can work with Rose's list, I'll work on number 1.
She'll meet with you and she'll walk you
Yeah,
through the whole
She said she
thing.
would when she left. And then on entertainment as well, we had that turtle display from last year. I'll do the turtle thing again this year.
That's one of the activities.
It's one of them.
One of the activities, yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
I'll
like
do-
that turtle?
Well, at least I know what's going on. And it's amazing.
It really brought him out of his shell.
We definitely will, these are the pre-planning tasks, and then there's the event day of tasks, and then we'll divide the table and the NRB activities that we definitely will be adding that and still doing that, because we have that great setup.
Can I make just an idea on it? Somebody had suggested that maybe we bring in a larger third party to actually do the event, because it's sponsored by Natural Resource Board, the city of Sebastian. Maybe a third party, like, I'm not saying for sure, but say like Disney or Eagle Distributing, somebody really big who would be interested in having their name out there that we could tie to Earth Day, Pelican Island, the whole thing that goes along with it, just maybe to step it up a notch. It's just an idea that we could bounce around for the next month. Nothing in concrete, but it's something that we could use to maybe either generate more interest or more funds.
I know the entertainment committee can use some more funds. I think we're pretty low on the budget.
Yeah. We have
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm
$50.
pretty sure we are.
But that's just an idea.
I believe, have we talked about that last year with sponsorship? And I think there was a conflict of interest with a city-sponsored event and having some sort of,
It's Natural Resources Board. We can partner, not with a commercial interest, we can partner with someone not benefiting. We don't charge for the booth, so.
We could
That was
probably get
sort of an idea from the start of Lisa's, to piggyback with another event, but I don't want to really intrude on the Pelican Island or even ask them.
We could probably get
So-
some clarification on what she just said about that too, because that was something that was brought up last year, if it was a conflict of interest or not. We could get that clarified. I don't think it is, because I've seen other
Because we don't charge,
city-sponsored
it's not a
events.
money-making event, so.
gotcha, okay.
And especially if we have a governmental agency participation in it. And I have a list of some other, such as Disney, to reach out to. We might get a good response.
And those volunteers that we get really made the difference. The Boys and Girls Club was phenomenal. And anybody else, the city, Sebastian and everybody else who was there at the end.
The key to volunteers is getting there early, because volunteers are stretched really thin around Earth Day. They all have things going on. There's so many cleanups and projects, and that's what we ran into last year, even a month or two out, so that's why the earlier the better.
So does that leave marketing?
That leaves volunteers, activities. John took marketing. And again, you won't be doing it blindly, we give you a list. We have a list to contact.
Okay.
The middle school did great last year, too.
I think allowing groups and encouraging groups to do their own activities would be helpful as well. I think a lot of these groups have kind of preset things they will do. And bring
Right.
I think that would be key. Do we know, we have any information on Gil or on Jason, the two members who are, I can't hear you. Sorry, do we have any information on the two members who aren't here, on Gil and on Jason?
No,
No?
but in the past, they have contacted Lisa or Jeanette, and I don't find out till the next day.
Oh,
So
gotcha,
I
okay.
can't say for sure.
So I'll volunteer for the volunteers.
Volunteer for the volunteers. Now, that's a volunteer. Thank you, Ruth.
And I can help out, you know, when I with activities, that kind of overlaps with, you know, the environmental organization, so I'd be happy to reach out to them and work on that. And I'm assuming the submitting the check request for reimbursement, that would be for activities that we do, not for activities that are
Any supplies purchased.
for the natural
That
resources.
goes for the Christmas also, if you have that.
Oh,
Okay.
sure.
We
Okay,
should submit
thanks.
that. I'm sorry, I should have messaged you beforehand.
All right, so we've got our plans. Okay.
Do we have to vote on that date or anything because of the action item? Is there anything we have to
It
do?
was action because we needed to
That was
divide
it,
up the
okay.
tasks.
Okay, so we'll move on to kind of continuing business. So up next, we've got, we're fortunate to have two groups coming in to speak to us about their sustainable business initiatives that we've been working so hard to try and kind of support with our plan here. So we have Surfrider Ocean Friendly Restaurants representative out there. Awesome, okay, perfect. So we'll invite you guys up first. If you don't mind coming to the microphone. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much for coming tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Aloha.
So you saw did you guys see what I sent? I don't remember who I sent it to.
We got it. Yes.
Oh, great. Oh, you've got the video I sent you, okay. Why not?
We're gonna
Should be going on there.
see him on the screen, or?
At Surfrider,
There we go.
There we go.
our love for the ocean doesn't stop when we leave the beach, which is why we created ocean-friendly restaurants. So what makes a restaurant ocean-friendly? At an ocean-friendly restaurant, you can count on reusable tableware when you're dining in, proper recycling practices, an ocean-friendly bag for takeout, no straw unless you ask for it, and absolutely no styrofoam. You might also notice vegetarian and vegan options,
Vegetarian option is good.
as well as sustainably sourced seafood.
Sound?
A discount when you bring your reusable cup, mug, or bag. Water and energy conservation efforts. And no beverages sold in plastic bottles. Ocean-friendly restaurants. Letting go of the things we don't need to protect the things we do.
So,
That looks great.
yeah, it's not very long. I don't know if you want to hear it again, but basically we have, I don't know if you heard the part, but there's 5 criteria that the restaurants, that are not optional.
Yeah.
And then they have the other ones that are, you have to pick 2
Okay,
to be part of the program. But the recycling one, you know, recycling practices, it's a
Right.
little, now we're kind of being a little more lenient on that criteria.
We've come up against that as well in terms of what some of the limitations are with the recycling for restaurants around
Exactly.
here. But we're looking at options for funding.
Yeah, so we try to approach restaurants that are already doing some of the practices. Obviously, these are people that are more, you know, in that line of thinking already. And we have 3 signed up now in Brevard. We have the Nomad Cafe, Tuscany Grill, and Islands Fish Grill. And they have a bunch of vendors they're using. And, you know, I sent you guys, we have a partner called Simply Straws. So any restaurant that joins gets 30% off all their products, so that's good. And then we have other resources they can look into for different products, like to-go. Styrofoam to-go is, you know, something that a lot of people save money. So we have to kind of help them find ways to find other products and strategize on how they can save money in other areas. But some restaurants save money by not giving out straws. Like Nomad, she did the, you know, the calculation, and she'd save like $600 by not sending out straws in like 6 months, so something.
That helps.
Do you have questions about the program, or?
I do. I'm curious as to, have you worked with any other entities like other cities where you've kind of piggybacked on their efforts to bring more sustainability to the cities, and how has that worked for you in the past?
Satellite Beach
Okay.
is a very active city. In fact, we just had our 7th annual Ocean Reef Beach
Right.
Festival in the
Okay.
town of Satellite Beach
Right.
last Saturday.
Yeah.
And I'm the director of that, and Surfrider presented it. And we had like 8,000 members of the public come through, 100 vendors, educational groups, like 20. We had scientists from FIT, Fish and Freshwater Commission, all kinds of educational entities of government educating the public on sustainable practices. The Save the Lagoon Coalition, 2 branches that was there. So are you familiar with Surfrider Foundation? Do you have any questions? It's been around 32 years. You're a member?
I'm a member, yeah.
Okay, great.
Melbourne Beach, too. Jim Simmons, the mayor, he did an ordinance specifically, and he mentioned us in the ordinance about, you know, it's voluntary now, but they're
Right.
trying to say to restaurants, hey, let's
Right.
start doing these practices.
Well, that was our idea, is to kind of piggyback on your
Yes.
efforts and dovetail this with another option or 2, or be able to add other options later. I mean, anything to kind of get them into the fold.
Yeah. I can send you what he wrote up, because it was, Indy Atlantic did it as well. So you can kind of see the way they worded it and send it out in their meetings.
That'd be great.
And, you know, by state statute, you're not allowed to ban plastic bags. So it's basically on a city ordinance, a voluntary basis.
For
So
now,
when we-
hopefully.
Yeah, so when we started like 4 years ago, we did a program launch at Melbourne Beach. We had a corporate sponsor buy 3,500 reusable bags. And the biggest outlay of plastic bags came from the supermarket store on Ocean Avenue there. So we set up signage, and I stocked them weekly or whenever they go through a couple hundred bags at a time. We gave out 3,300 bags there. And that was like our first pilot program to evaluate how the public would receive it, how the results would, the addiction of plastic is real. It's been around 50 years since McDonald's started takeout foods, so you can get food and drive in your car. And 50% of cars and airplanes are made with plastic components nowadays. So there's no debate that it's a great product. It's just how it's used and disposed of.
Single-use plastics, that's our main thing.
Yeah,
Do you have restaurants here that you feel are already sort of doing some of these practices, like using paper straws or?
There are quite a few that are using the paper straws or trying to have the optional straws, so you have to ask a request.
Perfect.
Captain Hiram's and
I believe-
Periodola, or
Yeah,
I
I believe Mulligan's also is doing
Mulligan's
it,
as well,
yeah.
yeah.
Captain Hiram's is a very big sponsor of us too. They work with us a
Yeah.
lot.
Well, Captain Hiram's has a charity a month program, and we're the January benefactor of their upcoming January, their charity for the month. Every dollar, Orange Crush they sell, $1 goes into the kitty for us for the month.
What about styrofoam? Do you guys, a lot of restaurants do that around here for takeout?
I am not aware of any restaurant that does not use styrofoam.
Yeah, I know how this all started is, we have the riverfront down here, and, if you walk down there, there's a lot of bars and restaurants down there, and on Friday and Saturday night, people are walking up and down, and then, of course, on Monday and, Sunday afternoon, there's a lot of debris, so.
Like styrofoam,
There's
plastic?
some, we'd have
Yeah,
to
like
look
the
at.
plastic cups, the plastic straws,
Yeah.
A lot of
wrappers.
plastic, single-use plastic, obviously, and then there's no recycle effort being made commercially here yet,
Which is difficult
unless
to
it's
do, yeah.
voluntary, just with straws and that sort of thing, but nothing formally from the city yet.
Well, the recycling industry is going under a major turmoil right now, with China not buying
With,
waste.
recyclables just sitting there.
So
Glass is a
what
problem.
we found out, like, where we used to do beach cleanups, well, that's after the fact. Once litter's made its way into the water, then it washes up.
We want to stop
So
it.
then getting rid of the
getting there.
bags, you have to go to the source of the problem, if you know.
Right.
And all those things aren't recyclable anyway, plastic bags, straws, silverware. Commercial recycling doesn't recycle any of that. So we just want to get them to stop using it. So, I have brochures here. I don't know if there's any restaurants you guys want to approach and just get their thoughts on it or how you want to go about it, but.
Our idea, our overall plan, our goal is to provide that information. So we'd have a packet that has information on your program and the Litter Quitter program and just information in general of what are the alternatives. So even if they don't want to join a program per se, but they want to switch over to the paper straws, that we can provide them with that information.
Right.
To make it easier and more accessible to them.
Okay.
Whatever carrot you can get to
Yeah,
move
and that's
in
what we
the right
talked about,
direction.
we feel like they're not gonna be able to do all this, a lot of them at once.
Right.
They can start kind of learning about the different things they can start changing, researching different products, and maybe, okay, by this month, we're gonna not be using this anymore.
Yeah.
And just get them really, habits start to change. And then eventually, hopefully, they really get into it and they realize that the patrons are into it. Like, we would much rather go to a restaurant that is caring about the environment than someone else. If the food's equal, we're going to the, that one. So that's the way we kind of try to sell it to them. Everyone here lives on the beach. We all love the beach. And they go on our national website. So if people are traveling, they can go on and see what restaurants in the area are on the program.
So they are advertised through Surfrider.
Yep, and we have tabletop things they can put on all their tables and stickers for their windows, so they start to get recognition. People start recognizing what it is. And South Carolina and Charleston, they have a really strong program, and they just banned bags. And by 2020, no more plastic bags. And it started with this program, really, getting them, aware.
Turtles must appreciate that.
Right.
I know that this is specifically for, restaurants, it's in the name of the program. Do you see the program opening up to other types of businesses that they would be able to switch to more sustainable products as well? Or do you think that the focus is solely going to be restaurants for this?
Well, this program is solely for restaurants because it's called ocean-friendly restaurants, but we do that. Like in Indy Atlantic, the mayor, Dave Beckman, he was going to something like the CVS and talking to them about not using plastic bags, because I think the CVS somewhere down south isn't using them. So these are the type of practice that we would like to get out to the business. It wouldn't be necessarily this program, but, you know, it would be good for the businesses to be doing some of these things. Plastic bags, I mean, that's pretty much the one for businesses, right? They don't really have straws or silverware they're giving out.
I'm thinking maybe even for hotels that have kind of the
Definitely
breakfast
hotels.
buffet or that kind of thing. Where
Yes.
Plastic bags, there's the turtles, when the plastic bags float in water, it looks like jellyfish, the main food source for turtles, so. And then that video that almost everyone has seen where they pull the straw out of the turtle's nose, I mean,
Yeah.
that struck an emotional chord, and,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of turtles, you know, our main turtle nesting ground, the whole northern hemisphere, is on Archie Carr from Brevard, Indian River, so we have a couple organizations there, so we aligned with them and with the reusable bags, so it was a natural alliance to gain traction and to take off and get to the people. Well, it's all a matter of, you know, getting people that care, and hopefully you start a trend going that way. But a lot of times, you know, laws, you have to force people to change things through laws or penalties or whatever. And so this is kind of, you know, here, the voluntary basis to see if it'll get some traction.
Yeah, I've been talking to, the Green Turtle is actually a restaurant in Brevard, and they have plastic bags with turtles on them, you know? It's like, let's think about this, you know?
Irony, can you imagine?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
They're like, everyone loves our logo. Okay, well, that logo could go on a paper bag, you know? So, we appreciate you having us, and if you
Yes.
need any more information, you know, my email is actually on the back of all these brochures.
Okay.
I have my cards here as well.
Great.
So there's 20 brochures here.
Perfect.
And we can get more.
Thank you so much, Shannon.
Thank you.
And we do have some members down here. When we do an event in June, the Surf Expo at Captain Irons, and we've signed up people. Our area goes all the way through Indian River County.
Yeah, this
too,
is our
so-
area, so we're Sebastian Untitled Chapter, so.
Right.
So maybe,
And we're signing you up for our Earth Day, right?
Yeah, you guys have to have a booth at the Earth Day Festival, of course.
Where are you guys having it? I didn't hear what you
April
said.
27th.
Here, right in the, where you have the farmer's market in that park.
Right there at Riverside Park, yeah.
Yeah.
But more importantly than that, we would like to be able to offer your expertise to people who want to listen, so,
Absolutely.
sure.
sounds great.
Yeah, we can meet with them. Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, really appreciate it.
Mahalo.
Okay, so we'll move on to the other program that's being represented as well from Brevard. We've got the Litter Quitter program. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Bobbitt. I'm Deputy Director of Keep Brevard Beautiful. How are y'all doing this evening?
Excellent.
Good.
Sorry, and would you mind just saying your name again for Ms. Graham and spelling your last name as well?
Brian Bobbitt with the Y, the right way. All right, thanks. All right, so pretty much want to catch you up on what's going on. We have a program that we've been doing for a couple years called Litter Quitter. And it kind of resembles a little bit about what Surfrider is doing, but there are a couple little differences, and we'll go over those tonight. So, what's the magic button? Oh, cool. What is Litter Quitter? Keep Brevard Beautiful and Brevard Zoo partnered about 3 years ago to create a program that would approach restaurants and get them to reduce their single-use plastics. We started working with local businesses, educating them, providing the resources to make more sustainable alternatives in Brevard County. And so we ended up making some short-term goals. You see a nice picture of a bird there. All right, so the first step is to eliminate and reduce single-use plastics. One of the first things that we ask restaurants to do to become a litter quitter is to adopt the ask first policy for a straw. You get to a restaurant and a waitress comes and sits you and your family. First thing she does, grabs a handful of straws, drop them on your table. Just stop doing that. If someone wants a straw, great, have them ask for it, or even better, go to a paper straw that will, deteriorate very quickly. So that's the first step to become a litter quitter, and that's one of the most low-hanging fruits. It's easy to do. It's cost-efficient for the restaurants to do it. Why are you not doing that? That type of deal. And a lot of people always say that going to paper straws is more expensive. In fact, if you go to the Ask First policy, you save enough money to cover your costs. One of the other steps is to encourage reusable items. Obviously not the paper straw part of it, but a lot of the to-go containers, some of those can be used as take-home. You know, I've recycled a Chinese takeout container. That's my lunchbox. It works out, and you can use it over and over and over again. So we encourage restaurants to go that route as well. And then some of our long-term goals are to create sustainable food sourcing. And then we also have county-wide composting as a long-term goal that we hope to see as an effect of all this. Got a cute little guy right there. Litter Quitter was originally created by Keep Brevard Beautiful in the year of 2016. In 2017, we began the new era, and we partnered with the Brevard Zoo. Since then, and I'll bring her up here in a little bit, Sharon Connolly and Kaylin Palmer with Keep Brevard Beautiful have turned this program into an amazing powerhouse that's recruited over 30-something restaurants this year alone. We're now releasing new and improved Litter Quitter to you today, and we hope that you adopt it. Why do we want to make the Litter Quitter matter? Plastic debris causes deaths of over 1 million seabirds every year, as well as over 100,000 marine mammals. And you heard the plea about the sea turtles from Surfrider, and it's just a common sense thing. Plastic's bad. We need to get away from it. Brevard County receives a lot of tourism, especially in our beautiful beaches. Our lagoon is also a major source of income for this county, and for Brevard and for Indian River. I'm stumbling. Keep Indian River beautiful as well. So we have 400 million straws used every single day. That is a lot of straws. And if we just could get them to be part of an Ask First policy, that would make such a huge difference. Styrofoam takeout takes 500 years to deteriorate. In addition to the horrendous amounts of microplastics in our oceans, we have also recently discovered tons of microplastics in the Indian River Lagoon. It starts off in a little piece, gets blown up, eaten by a fish, eaten by a bird. You catch a fish, you're eating the microplastics. And it's a well-known issue all around the globe that here, Keep Brevard Beautiful and Brevard Zoo are wanting to do something about it. Member benefits. So pretty much we approach a restaurant and we ask them to join Litter Quitter. So they get a window sticker which notifies anyone that, you know, hey, I'm a member of Litter Quitter. They put it right at their front door. They also get promotional listings on websites from Keep Brevard Beautiful, Brevard Zoo. We now have the Cocoa Beach Chamber of Commerce involved, and we encourage all the other chambers to adopt to it as well. So they're getting a lot of mention and links from other websites. The one with the Cocoa Beach Chamber of Commerce is priceless because what do tourists go to when they're looking for somewhere to eat? It mentions your company in press releases. We have local media days. We do training on a regular basis with a restaurant owner who teaches restaurants how to train their staff. That's one of the big things. You can say that you're going to become a Litter Quitter, but you have to train your staff to act like it. And we have training sessions for that. We have group discount pricing for sustainable products. Right now there's a little bit of back order on straws, but if you're a Litter Quitter, you can get in on this discount pricing for your sustainable items. We do have compostable items, trying to get away from styrofoam as well, and you have the access to a discount of that. We have networking and education opportunities. Aside from the training that we do with the restaurant owners, we also train volunteers who want to go out and contact restaurants on behalf of Keep Brevard Beautiful and Brevard Zoo, and hopefully on behalf of you to help recruit new restaurants. We have annually organized Day of Support that drives customers to your business. It's Litter Quitter Day, and we encourage people to go out and eat. As you can see, I like that day. Litter Quitter members can also include their certification as a practice to Indian River Lagoon Green Business Pledge, so it's qualified for that as well. Now, how's Litter Quitter work? Litter Quitter program has a couple different components. There's a couple different qualifications. We have program partners that carry out the background work. They process the applications, reaches out to the businesses, creates the marketing materials. And then we have the vendors that provide the sustainable alternatives to businesses like Edward Don & Co., Cisco, Arvart, and the businesses that participate by doing the right things for the environment. We have volunteers that carry out the task in neighborhoods, such as secret shoppers. They'll go out and just take their family to dinner and just make sure, hey, she didn't give me a straw. That's good. Because we do want to maintain that certification level. We don't want to just give it to you. We want to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to. All right, program partners are Brevard Zoo, Keep Brevard Beautiful, and we're hoping you after tonight. And then we have our current vendors, which are Aardvark. They create the paper straws. Eco Products, they have the compostable to-go containers. And then Edward Don as well for compostable containers. So if a restaurant is saying, well, hey, if Litter Quitter's going to make me change my supplier, chances are they're already working with these people. They just get discount rates at this point. And these are some of the restaurants that we booked this year. As you see, we have quite a few. We got Rusty Seafood, all of the Long Doggers in Brevard County, Meg O'Malley's, Hemingway's, we've got Hampton Inn. This program isn't just for restaurants, it's for everyone. And that's what we're trying to work to adapt it right now. I know Sharon and Caitlin are working hard to create a whole other certification process for non-restaurant businesses. We have one church that's already applied. It's in Melbourne Beach, I believe it is, and they do a lot of like community outreach and everything. They want to be sustainable in their activities. So the volunteers can be you, maybe. And what do the volunteers do? As I mentioned, the volunteers go through, they spread the awareness. They're that first touch with the restaurant. They go, and all you gotta do is just go out to eat. You know, just go out there. If you see that they're just giving straws away, or even if they're doing the right thing, you know, get a hold of the manager. Say, hey, are you interested in this? And they set up that meeting between Keep Brevard Beautiful or Brevard Zoo or a representative that you will appoint to go out there and make that pitch. So we have the first thing that they need to do for bronze certification is that ask first straw policy. It's easy, it saves them money. And now you also could switch to a sustainable straw option, which is even better. So you're gonna ask for it, and then you're gonna have, if they ask for it, then you have a better one to offer instead of just the plastic. And then also encourage customers to bring their own reusable straws. That's a hot item right now. It makes a great Christmas gift or stocking stuffer if you want to get like one of those reusable straws to give someone, just helping you out if you haven't got anything for your wife or husband yet. Great gifts. All right, to qualify for silver, they have to have one bronze, and then they have to switch plastic bags to paper bags, usually used for to-go containers, but why not make the switch? Encourage customers to bring their own reusable bags if they're going to be carrying out multiple to-go containers. And then switch plastic utensils to more sustainable options, such as bamboo, corn-based, reusable, and again, they get discounts on all this stuff. And to become a gold certification, we need you to switch to a styrofoam, or remove the styrofoam and use a sustainable option, such as a corn-based paper, you know, a reusable type of cup. From what we were talking about with the meeting not too long ago, I know that we were talking about your downtown area. You have people that go from bar to bar to bar to bar. An option is to have a cup that's clear see-through, so that way, you know, the police officers know it's clear, but you can carry it from bar to bar and put your city logo, whatever you want on there, and it's reusable instead of all those cups. The businesses will like it because they'll save money on the plastic cups. Plus, you're not going to have as many just sitting around on your floor the next day. Just an idea. You want to switch to-go containers and option corn-based, as I mentioned. And you also want to encourage customers to bring their own reusable to-go containers, which pretty much goes in the same thing. And then the final part of the gold one, which is very popular, I know you have a lot of waterfront businesses, is having netting along your docks, your boardway, or your decks that are on the restaurant. Anything that can keep a napkin from blowing in, or a plastic straw, or which shouldn't be there to begin with, but that netting that can prevent trash from ending up into the water. So one of the things that we were finding out when we first started the program is when the restaurants stopped offering straws, the waitresses started getting smaller tips. They realized that, oh, I didn't get a straw, my waitress wasn't that very good. So we decided we were gonna help out with that. With the restaurants, when they become a litter quitter, they get that sticker that we talked about. But they also get a poster in their waiting area that says, you're not going to get a straw from us. If you want one, ask for it, we'll give it to you. But we're not just going to give it to you. If you have a bar at your restaurant, you're going to have coasters. For the people that like to mix their drink, we encourage them to swish it around or whatnot, but there's going to be a coaster that explains why you're not getting a straw. So that way, it doesn't affect the waitresses. And as well as for when you're sitting in the restaurant area, there's little table TPs that we offer that explain why this restaurant is choosing not to have a just given out straw policy. So not only are you doing the right thing by reducing the plastic that's going out there, you're educating countless residents daily. And hey man, well, maybe we shouldn't do that. We also give out brochures, the coasters as I mentioned, the table tents, posters, and the window sticker, and business cards. So the rat card, this is what it looks like. We give it to the restaurants. This is like our first touch. It pretty much explains the program to a restaurant owner or to anyone that would be interested. And then we have the coaster, as I mentioned. This is what is given to restaurants that have bars. It just sits right there on the bar and kind of self-explanatory. And then this is the table tent that is set at all the tables. So that way when people are waiting for their drinks and everything they see, they're not going to get a straw. All this is provided to the restaurants when they become a litter quitter. This is the poster I was telling you about. Oh. And the litter stick, or the sticker that goes on the window to identify a restaurant as a litter quitter. If you have any questions about it, I highly recommend you reach out to Keep Brevard Beautiful or Brevard Zoo. I'd like to bring up a couple people now. Sharon Connolly with the Brevard Zoo, and then the other one right, oh, there she is. Yeah, and Daisy Packard with Keep Indian River Beautiful, who would help facilitate doing this in your county if you wanted to. So Sharon and Kaylin, who is an employee of Keep Brevard Beautiful, unfortunately she decided to go to college and she has exams tonight, so she couldn't make it. Sharon's here. She was one of the original partners that helped create this program. So she's here to help answer any questions. And then also Daisy with Keep Indian River Beautiful, who can help facilitate this in your county, in your community. And we're just happy to see it go to use. So if any of you have any questions or anything.
I've got a question. What is the cost to the business?
Promotional material, marketing material.
That's it? Otherwise, there's no fee to join at all?
There's some staffing. You have costs with Kaylin. Training. Zoo has costs with me.
Right.
But it's mostly the marketing material, being able to provide all those materials to the restaurant.
Okay.
That's our biggest cost.
What was your
No,
question?
I think he meant to the restaurant.
To the restaurant.
Yeah, to the restaurant.
To the restaurant?
Yeah.
Yeah, to the
Cost
restaurant. What is the cost involved to the restaurant to join? Nothing? Okay.
Free.
We do ask that eventually they do, with some of the money that they save, they pick up some of the marketing brochures, the coasters and everything. Because we're starting to get a lot of people involved and it is getting a little expensive.
Yeah.
So we're looking for funding sources, stuff like that, which might become a possibility in the near future. But the big thing is we don't charge. We want the restaurants to do this. We want the community to do this. We are giving them the opportunity to get involved, and we're helping train them for free, train their staff, everything.
So what's your budget then?
For litter
All the
quitter?
materials, what total cost you have?
So far, well, luckily the zoo and Keep Brevard Beautiful have partnered 50-50 with costs, and so far it's been, I know the coasters were a stinger.
Yeah.
It's been several thousand.
We make them out of recycled paper, or we have them made out of recycled paper, so they don't last as long as a typical coaster in a bar.
And
So
they
we're
cost
handing
a
out,
little bit more.
well, I got a deal on, but we're handing out a little bit more. They're going through them quicker than what I'd hoped for, so it's costing a little bit more than what we expected, but
I'm sorry, I didn't get the two ladies' names. I don't know if Janet got them either. You have to identify yourself at the mic. You have to identify yourself at the microphone and then spell your name for her.
My name is Daisy Packer, just like the flower, just like the football team.
Packer.
Yes, keep Indian River beautiful.
Thank you.
That's key.
mine is Sharon Conley, Connelly, Conley.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So our hopes are that the commission adopts this program, takes it up higher to the chain, a proclamation could be made for the city, and then eventually we start instituting this, advertising it, getting it out there to the restaurateurs and also other local businesses. In January, we're going to be doing a training at, is it the zoo?
Yes.
At the Brevard Zoo, and that's for all the volunteers, anyone that'll be going out to approach the restaurants. We train you, we give you all the materials that you need, we give them the brochures, and we show you how to make that first point of contact. If anyone's a foodie, this is the perfect program to get them involved.
Can we get the information on that training date in case any board members want to attend?
Sharon will,
Yeah, we'll get it to you, we did not set it yet.
but it will be in January sometime.
So is this the type of thing, and so again, this, you know, what the city, what the Natural Resources Board was envisioning is trying to further support and kind of advertise what is already existing with Litter Quitter. So do you see the existing Litter Quitter being able to expand within Indian River County, or do you think we need to try and establish something new within this?
I kind of think that's our goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly, that's the whole point, and that we're not trying to franchise this out to you. Take it. I mean, we will help you bring it to your community, and that's kind of why Daisy's here as a representative of Keep Indian River Beautiful, Keep Brevard Beautiful. We're affiliates of Keep Florida Beautiful. We have a great working relationship, and she can be a great liaison between us and you, since, you know, it's a little bit of a hike up to Central Brevard. And she can help, you know, get everything going with you, and kind of, if she has questions, we can work with her directly. And then Sharon and Kaylin are always progressing the program even further.
To market it to Indian River County, the only difference is you guys are the first ones who have expressed interest. So it would start, like, we don't have a budget for the promotional materials to rebrand with Indian River County information or those kinds of things at this time. But I do have, one of my board members is also very active in he believes highly in this mission as well, and so he and his group that are doing these kinds of activities and talking to people about this are interested in helping and being our ground level volunteers. So we do have already some interest in that moving forward, because you guys expressed interest, others are expressing interest. So it is something that will build in momentum. It's just a matter of the table tents and the clings and those kinds of things. We don't have the capital at this moment to turn into Indian River material versus Brevard material.
But we will give you a head start. Captain Hiram's just signed up.
Yeah, I was going to say, there are 2 restaurants in the city.
Yep.
Right, there are Mulligan's.
And Periodola, right?
Yeah, but
No, Periodola and
It's on your presentation.
So there's an interest in your community.
I'd like to add-
For a few months, and they're very interested in spreading it along the lagoon.
I'd like to add this team also is willing to do a presentation to the city council for us as well.
Great.
Brian and I attended a meeting last week for a trash-free lagoon. It's an EPA initiative workshop, and that's where I met Brian and Daisy, and that's where we sort of discussed this further, and there's going to be another meeting in January. So one of the items on here is to discuss the city council presentation, December 12th. I think we should delay that until we have a meeting after the next workshop and have what we want more clearly defined, and then we'll partner with them on a presentation.
And potential, I mean, is there potential for funding through this EPA program as well?
Yes.
Yes.
So that would be very helpful. I mean, everything sounds fantastic. It's exactly what we want.
I really have to give to Sharon and Kaylin. About 2 years ago, I handed this program to them, and I was like, hey, it's kind of sitting dead in the water, see what you can do with it, and I was ready to write it off, and they have turned it into what it is today. So I really have to give credit to them too. These young ladies have just knocked it out of the park. And then Daisy, you know, we've worked together for years, and we've already introduced lagoon-friendly lawns into her area, so we're excited to see another program go.
That's another thing I think we'd really like to see discuss at a later date, bring it into the city. Lagoon-friendly lawns.
PowerPoint if you want to go.
We'll arrange it for after the new year.
A twofer.
Yeah. Buy one, get one.
Great. I think the collaboration sounds great, yeah. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you all very, very much. We appreciate you spending
We'll
the time.
be in touch.
Okay, so to go to the next, so to think about how we move forward then for the rollout details, I guess we'll kind of, put things on hold for a little bit, wait until the next meeting. And when is that next EPA meeting? Do you have the date on that, by any chance? Okay. Okay.
The next one is going to be in Brevard County, somewhere, and it's in mid-January. So we're looking at probably the late February city council meeting as a target. And also Lisa really wants to be a part of that, and she wasn't going to be here in January, so she loves the initiative and she just wants to be a part of it, coming to city council. I personally never attended a meeting, so I'd probably appreciate the guidance on it.
All right. Any concerns or questions about the delay?
Having been to that meeting, and I encourage all of us to go to the next one too. It's open, I think, to any of us on the board. The next estuary EPA meeting.
Industry people are invited, and then it's an open workshop, so.
I got a question. We were working on writing a grant to the lagoon, to the federal lagoon.
National Estuary Program?
Right, and I think their deadline is February.
Yep.
So.
What kind of grant were we looking at?
Well, that's what I wanted to ask, because we were looking to get money for the Sustainable Business Initiative, but I don't know how to word it or what you're looking for. I've been working on it, but I don't know what the final outcome wants to be.
Well, I think that would probably, to see what's available through the EPA or through this program.
Problem is, if we wait, though, we're going to miss that deadline for this year.
Well, this meeting is in mid-January. We'll definitely, the whole plan seems to be that the EPA wants to facilitate these programs. And if they aren't offering the funding, they've already offered me a couple other sources of funding directly, like, I don't know if they arrange that or what, but I feel like we'll have time. I think it's like late February that the grant is due.
Late February.
And there's people in the estuary program that attend this meeting, the one that we're going to be going to.
They sponsor it.
They just want, yeah.
They brought the Trash-Free Lagoon program here. The Trash-Free Waters program is a national EPA program. And if you look at their website online, they have a lot of different programs that they've done. And their idea is to facilitate the design of a program that is replicable, that is innovative and replicable and effective. So that's their three goals, and that's what they're here trying to work out. Programs that address the main trash sources.
The facilitator is very interested in using us as a model for other areas as well. So there are funds available through this as well as the estuary program, clean water. So do any of this stuff get distributed here? The stuff from, okay.
What was discussed is, we can look at the litter quitter program, that changes will have to be made to make it applicable to other areas. And as we streamline it into something that is easy to apply in Sebastian, that they're working towards creating a manual for that program as a whole, kind of like we're a pilot program of replicating it, and so we should really take time. I'll send the PowerPoint with the requirements, and I did include it in the packet, what's on their website, with the requirements, and maybe, doesn't mean that items aren't up for discussion. And if we feel certain things aren't going to work here, or certain things are going to be a problem with with implementing the program, we should look over it. Also consider what Surfrider has brought to the table. Because the idea is that we're going to be meeting, not to say, hey, we want to do this program as is. It's about developing and designing the program to tailor it to our area, but all at the same time, tailoring it in a way that can be duplicated anywhere else.
So I'm confused here because, I'm thinking, are we dovetailing, are we offering let's just say our sustainable program here in Sebastian is gonna offer both the Litter Quitter and Surfrider, or are we gonna come up with something of our own, and is that what they were aiming for us to come up with something of our own? Like a synthesis of?
How the meeting went, you were there, we brought to the table what the problem was.
Right.
And our group was working on trash, single-use plastics from restaurants being the issue. And Litter Quitter said, we already have this program. And then we worked on how we could partner with Keeping River Beautiful. And the idea is that they have their program that works in Brevard, that they're implementing into Brevard, but it doesn't mean that it's perfect. You know, in a year that it's been implemented, that doesn't mean that it's not. So the next meeting is about making changes or modifying this program, and I think that that's where we look at Surfrider and say, okay, we want to create something that is free to, not low cost for the restaurants, and we want to streamline the most ideal program. We also already have a great list of things we've discussed in depth that we think really need to work here. So that's something that whoever, Brian and I and whoever else goes, needs to bring to the table as we look at streamlining what their program is into something that will be applicable here.
In our quest to get funds or develop this program, are we able to set up as our board grants for the city businesses to transition into a sustainable program or a Litter Quitter program or Surfrider program, where like how they do with the CRA, where they're able to get a grant for signs and sewage? Are we able as a board able to set that up where they can apply for these funds, and that's what we can build our grant request around?
I think when it comes to like the membership for the organizations would be a difficult thing, but I think and I was already given, by the way, a contact at that meeting that said we could subsidize most of the cost of adding recycling to these waterfront businesses, which means it leaves a minimal cost, and that could be easily covered by CRA funds. Exactly how it was directed to me by someone who is a lot more experienced getting things done than I think any of us do. So, but we need to look at the individual things, like the netting. I think that's something that could be a CRA-funded thing. We apply for these things by the item, and as long as it can be considered an operational sort of expense, but membership to the organization may not be considered. But the items which gain them that membership could be.
Just to build off of, a lot of the grant is generic, but some of it has to be item specific because they have to know where that money's going. And
one of the things that's
we'll know
nice
more
about
that over the
dovetailing
next month.
here is you've got some synergy with the program. They're looking to recycle too, and there's money coming downstream for that. We can go to the restaurant and say, look, we've got money to build your enclosed recycle area.
Yes.
And you're gonna save money on straws, spend a little bit, you're gonna get this much back. It's, I think we can sell that.
I encourage the board members to look over those requirements for a Litter Quitter program, maybe look at their website further, and email me with any questions, comments, concerns, and let me, the meeting is going to be mid-January. I would encourage you to bring things that I can bring to that meeting, bring up things. And certainly, we already have that list of things we would like, so look at the things that aren't included, things we would like added. I went there with our outline, we went there prepared. We knew exactly what we wanted, and I knew exactly when I walked in the door who I wanted to grab into our group. And I think it was very productive.
Our newest board member down here is a scientist and has been with the EPA, or a lot of EPA meetings, so I think we got some good help here.
Are you available mid-January?
It depends on the date.
All right.
Okay, so we'll wait on the information for that meeting. I think my only concern would, with waiting until late February, I mean, it would be nice to be able to present something earlier in January to try and, I thought it would be nice to try and have something by Earth Day that we could kind of announce there that.
We still will. Earth Day is in April.
Okay.
When this program is cemented enough that they are presenting it, I think that it's immediate rollout. There'll be no holdup. They already have everything in line for the rollout, and at that point, we'll have the funding too. So I think it'll be something like that. We'll already have examples. I would see by Earth Day already having examples of restaurants enrolled. We already have one enrolled,
And whatever timeline you suggest, Chairperson, I'd be glad to support.
Oh, I don't know. It was all, I guess it's kind of idealistic. Whenever it happens, it'll happen. Okay, so any other questions or concerns about the plan? Okay, so I think we'll just kind of wait for that date information. We have member matters coming up next. Anyone have any comments or issues they'd like to bring up? Okay. Unfortunately, I actually do have one, and it has to do with the parade. I wasn't at the parade. I had a Christmas party to go to, but the next morning on Sunday, I went for my weekend run, and I am lucky enough to live close enough to the river that I go right past, and I go up past Captain Butcher's and then back. And I was almost in tears. There were candy cane wrappers. There were hundreds and hundreds of them. I luckily found a plastic bag in the mangroves across from Earl's. And so I grabbed the plastic bag and I just was stuffing it with candy cane wrappers and candy wrappers. I think we have to address this. It was a tragedy because, and I was there at 7:30 in the morning. It was windy this weekend. And I don't know how many of those candy wrappers went into the water. So I was trying to think of solutions. How do we, besides people putting the wrappers in their pocket, which would make sense, is there any way we can try to address this as a pollution issue, with the city? Did you guys notice as you were walking through the parade?
We were throwing out
and
candy.
everything?
Yeah, we're throwing.
Yeah, they say that's why you can't throw out candy. You're supposed to put it in their hands.
They were big ones, though. The small ones were the real problem as far as I saw. I was picking them up as I went along.
Yeah, we were picking up litter as we were walking along, but it's...
No, it's a very valid concern.
Yes.
I'm glad you addressed it here.
Providing bags for the kids to put the candy in?
They're paper bags maybe that they're going to break down.
Right.
I mean, I was just thinking, if, at the very least, of maybe trying to put out more trash cans, because I was not able to. There were trash cans at the boat ramps, essentially, but there was nothing in between. I know a lot of that is private property, so you probably can't do much, but you could at least put them out for the night, and then...
I think if they had bags for the candy, then if they ate some, they would instinctively put the wrapper back in their bag,
Yeah.
A lot of kids had bags with them, and it was almost like trick or treat, and we were just putting candy in the bag.
Oh, interesting.
I would say about half of them, but there were quite a few that were just, taking it and throwing the wrapper.
We got a little time to think about it between now and then, but
They don't pass out candy at 4th of July, do they?
altogether.
Candy ban.
Candy
boy, that'd
ban.
be tough.
Iron fist.
We were also talking about candy wrapped in paper. There's a lot there's other
requiring it to be in
alternatives.
biodegradable,
And
yeah.
we got 11 months to work on it. But no, it was a very valid concern with the team that was there. We were like,
We were making comments actually.
Yes.
When
it was very, very valid. And
When
it's something
they said they were
very
passing out candy, when Lisa said, I'm like, oh, that sounds like a nightmare. like environmental nightmare. My first response is, something, she goes, you know it is, I don't want to think about it.
It's not.
And the turnout was tremendous. It was like quadruple from last year. And they were 5 deep at the second end. I mean, barring a candy ban or a plastic ban, candy wrapped in paper, there's alternatives that we can absolutely do that we just didn't go into before the parade, but looking
Yeah, we should
forward.
even thought
Look
about
up
that
some, and
beforehand.
maybe we could come up with a proposal by next summer, you know, for the city council.
Yeah, of how to address that. I mean, if the parade were miles inland, you know, it's still bad, and I get that, but the fact that it was right there, like you're at ground zero.
And all of that,
the
it's not
water.
protected with mangroves, all those, you know, the boat
The
ramps
little tiny
and,
pieces
and the,
are gonna be in those.
and the
mangroves
kayak
for
ramps that went
500
right in the
years.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay. Which brings up when we start to look at the food and the retail vendors, and I will do the same for the environmental organizations as we start to kind of solicit the vendors for this year. I personally think I think we need to make a statement from the very beginning and say, we do not want single-use plastics.
Right.
If you're handing out the popcorn, put it in a paper bag, please. If you
Contact us for
none of the
help.
balloons, none of
If you
the,
need to know sourcing, whatever, we'll have sources that you
Yeah.
can use for sustainable
I think we need to
products.
build
I'd
into our
like to
budget.
look into the water trucks that they have at a lot of
Oh, the
other
water
events.
yes.
I don't know if that's sponsored or not.
Yeah. I think we need to kind of make a stand and make this event stand out in the fact that we're trying to really make an effort to avoid those types of items.
Because when they have those trucks and they say no water bottles, you know, that's a huge thing you're eliminating.
Yeah. Yeah, because there were cases of water bottles at last year's event. Okay. All right. Any other member input? Okay. All right, so we've got items for the next agenda. We've got our, we'll each have kind of our planning updates between now and January. When is our January meeting? Does anyone know the date in January?
I should have put it on here.
January, it's going to be the first is on a Tuesday, so it can't be then, right?
I'm assuming it's
No,
not
so it
New
would be
Year's
the
Day.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it doesn't, if we just miss the meeting. I need to look into the following
Potentially
Tuesday.
schedule it, okay.
I'll look into that.
I mean, to a certain extent,
That'd be
if,
the 8th.
yeah, that would be the 8th. And what we would be presenting there is just updates on what we've done between now and then. So are we anticipating trying to reach out, trying to meet with you and potentially Rose first with whatever our responsibilities are for the Earth Day? Okay,
And it could be at each of your convenience.
okay. All right.
And you're gonna send out the budgets and everything from last year?
Well, yeah, the budget is pretty minimal.
But it covered what we needed.
Okay.
And we had extra, which is why we had the plants, so, okay.
Wouldn't it be great to have more and help with the materials to implement this program, or?
Yeah, okay.
Just curious to find out what the entertainment budget was, that's all.
I can give that to you.
It's good detail to know. Okay, and then Sustainable Business Initiative, the rollout plan, I think we already discussed that. Any additional details anyone thinks we need to review? Okay, then I will seek
Motion to adjourn?
Second the motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We are adjourned.